The film begins at the penitentiary, where detectives Marsh and Cole are interrogating Rebecca, the sole survivor of a massacre that occurred hours earlier at the town's arcade. She asks if they really want to know what happened, and the investigators agree. At that moment, we are transported to a time in the past where we meet Alex, a young woman who works at an arcade. She's talking to Jaina, another employee, when the arcade manager, Tim, tells her they'll have to work overtime because customers have booked the space for a birthday party later. Despite this, Jaina tells Alex she needs to find her boyfriend and says she'll leave discreetly before the event ends. Meanwhile, we see the arcade manager enter a private room with a movie projector, where it's clear he's a big fan of Mickey Mouse's first appearance on the big screen. The manager hears a sinister voice coming from a Mickey Mouse mask he collects in a glass display case. He appears possessed and walks toward the object. While Alex is having fun at work, she hears a noise and decides to investigate, only to run into a man wearing a Mickey Mouse mask, who takes the opportunity to lock the back door with a chain. Alex deduces it's Tim and reacts quickly, running to the main entrance, but along the way, she's surprised by her childhood friends. In fact, they were the ones who had booked the arcade to throw Alex a surprise birthday party, even though they celebrated there every year. The mastermind behind it all was Marcus, who likes her very much and pays attention to Alex's every wish. Ryan, the hockey team captain, is also there. The two compete for Alex's attention, but she shows more interest in Marcus. Besides them, all her friends were there, as was Rebecca, the girl being interrogated at the beginning of the film. To get Marcus out of the way, Ryan conspires with the other hockey players to scare the boy by beating him up. When Marie and Gemma try to take a photo, Alex warns them against it, as the boss wouldn't want to know that young people are drinking alcohol on the premises, and especially that Alex is participating. Ryan comes up with the idea of collecting everyone's cell phones and putting them in a trash bag. He takes the bag and leaves it on a table. The only ones who didn't hand over their phones to Ryan were Paul and Jackie, who had snuck out earlier to make out. They are startled to see Satan's Mickey Mouse, whom they initially think is Ryan, since he's wearing the same hockey uniform. Meanwhile, Ryan confesses his feelings to Alex and says he feels like she secretly loves him, which is definitely not true, as Alex pretends to like women to keep him away. One of the girls notices that the cake knife is missing, but no one pays much attention. The group then decides to head to the bar, while Rebecca retrieves their cell phones. The problem is that they've been replaced with toy phones, and to make matters worse, the front door has also been locked with a chain different from the one used by the arcade staff. The group thinks it's a prank by Danny, but he assures them he has nothing to do with it. Alex is upset and complains about Mickey's macabre prank earlier, but her friends don't understand the insinuation, as none of them seem to be aware of the real situation. They suspect Paul and Jackie are playing a prank, leading the friends to split up to search for them. Ryan is startled when he enters a ride and encounters a man in a Mickey Mouse mask. He thinks it's Paul and enjoys the situation, thinking his friend is playing a prank. However, the killer doesn't react, and the scene cuts to the next level. Meanwhile, Rebecca enters a maze and comes face to face with the evil Mickey. As soon as she sees his knife, she gets scared and tries to run away, but something strange happens. Mickey teleports and appears right in front of her. The girl falls to the ground and accidentally shines the flashlight in Mickey's face, apparently injuring him so badly that he has to flee. At that same moment, in another part of the arcade, Marie enters another ride behind Paul and Jackie. However, she also encounters the killer, who looks at her and waves the knife, causing a few drops of blood to splatter on her face. He attacks her, but luckily, she manages to use the slide to escape from the Psycho Mickey. The girl tells the bad news to Alex and Marcus, who believe her story. The three think Ryan is the killer because, according to Marie's description, the clothes were exactly the same. In another scene, we see the hockey team having fun at the nearby bar when, suddenly, Mickey appears to them. The boys try to intimidate him, but he's undeterred and uses a bat to knock them out. Danny, who had been using drugs, is very high and asleep in the roller coaster seat when Mickey appears and turns on the ride, waking the young man from his slumber. Luckily, Mickey was just teasing him and turns off the ride, allowing him to escape. Marcus and the girls try to escape through the emergency exit when they discover that the door is also locked and blocked by the bodies of Paul and Jackie. Marcus says they could call the fire department if they could simulate a fire in the place, since the siren alarm sends a signal to the fire control center. Alex then enters the office and activates the alarm, while Marcus uses the arcade's PA system to try to communicate with his other friends. Meanwhile, Gemma is completely oblivious to the situation while playing the simulator. Unbeknownst to her, the killer appears behind her, sniffing her neck with a knife pointed at her throat. For some reason, the Disney rat decides to toy with its prey, setting her free. Leaving the office, Alex encounters Gemma, who asks what's going on. Alex tells her to come closer so they don't make noise and attract the killer's attention, but it's too late as Mickey appears and attacks Gemma, causing Alex to panic. She shines her flashlight on the villain, but he quickly teleports away. Rebecca and Danny meet up and face the evil Mickey again. The two run, but the girl falls to the ground and is slashed in the Achilles tendon by the killer Mickey. She begs her friend to run, but he refuses and tries to save her. However, after being punched in the stomach, he simply kneels and remains inert, while Mickey finishes the job. Alex, Marcus, and Marie reunite. Alex explains that he saw the killer disappear right before his eyes as if he had teleported. Although it seems crazy, Marcus believes the story, just as he believes everything else after seeing a crazy man dressed as Mickey Mouse hunting people. The boy then suggests they improvise some weapons, while Mickey announces that Jaina is returning from her date, prompting Alex to yell through the window for her to stay away. Unfortunately, she doesn't hear anything because she's distracted by her cell phone, and ends up becoming another victim of the Disney mascot. We then see Ryan reappear after being knocked out by the killer and swearing he had nothing to do with Mickey's crimes. He even admits that, along with the crew members, he had planned to scare Marcus, but denies that the situation would come to this. Mickey appears, and Ryan approaches him, thinking he's one of his friends, but Mickey doesn't react and hits him in the face with a tool. Alex quickly shines the flashlight on the evil mouse, preventing him from teleporting. Marcus seizes the opportunity, grabs a baseball bat, and hits him, sending Mickey tumbling to the ground, where he is then pinned down with a chair by the two men. Mickey becomes enraged, hits Ryan's ankle, and even manages to throw the bat at Marie, causing her to drop the flashlight on the ground, allowing him to teleport and escape again. The remaining 4 survivors conclude they need to use the arcade to their advantage, which isn't difficult, since they've all been there since childhood. Alex shouts to Mickey and suggests they play hide and seek one last time. If Mickey loses, he'll have to leave the girl and her friends alone. However, if he wins, Alex says he'll willingly surrender himself to him. The group then heads to laser tag, and that's where Mickey is. He claims he found the girl, but she replies that she also found him, so their previous agreement doesn't stand. Mickey falls into a trap when the teenagers turn on the living room lights and prevent the evil mouse from moving. Ryan and Marcus appear and attack Mickey, managing to restrain him. Instead of seizing the moment to deliver the final blow, Alex wastes time gloating, allowing Mickey to let out a dark laugh and disappear after the flashing lights mysteriously turn off. The survivors are in shock, but Alex asserts that he won't be returning. The film then returns to Rebecca, who concludes her testimony with the teleportation story, which clearly doesn't convince the police, who consider her the prime suspect in the crimes. However, Rebecca says she hasn't told the end of the story yet, and the scene returns to the arcade, where Mickey teleports back behind Alex, ending the protagonist's life and leaving Marcus tearful as he regrets never confessing his feelings. In the post-credits scene, we see Mickey opening Rebecca's cell and inviting her to join him and several others who are just starting out. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.